All right, so Tamarin left me a really nice comment today on my last video that I really wanted to talk about. Normally, I wouldn't start working on a video this late in the afternoon, but I felt compelled because she took the time to write it out. She's been there even after I lost the channel the first time. She's been contacting me steadily since forever. And for me, online relationships with people that I'll never meet in real life have never had the same value as meeting a person in real life. But when you start seeing the kindness, because a lot of my coworkers, I work alone, pretty much in a large room. And so most of the interactions that I have with people at work are going to be people I'm never going to meet in real life. And that distance, that knowing that you're never going to come into contact with these people creates a certain, I think, a distance and a sense that those people aren't real. Even though when I talk to these people and I try to put them in that box, they won't go into the box without kicking and screaming. And it's also something that I've noticed about my own personality, and I've had this pointed out to me on many occasions throughout my life that despite not considering myself to be a people person at all, remember, I'm sitting in the dark right now in my apartment and I'm twiddling my thumbs thinking about stuff. And that's not a person that's people inclined. And to to a further extent, I mean, I really don't like normal people. I've been a person that will size you up and then decide whether or not I'm ever going to talk to you again. I'm not a person that's relatable. I would say that I'm more of a troll than anything else. And for some reason, when people meet me, especially people that are hurt, and I'm talking about emotionally hurt, not physically hurt, when they meet me, they want me, they want to tell me things. And many, many years ago, I had a boss who said to me, Millennial Steam, you find all the broken toys. And I was kind of taken aback by that because again, I'm not a people person. And when it comes to meeting people that I let into my inner circle, there aren't many people in that circle. In fact, if I had to put a number to it right now, it would be zero. And for a person to remain at zero life connections, I would say it takes a lot of hard work because I've had to tell people I'm not interested, especially, you know, if you're not looking like this AI generated lady in the in the background right now, which I worked really hard on. I told the AI to redo hair, redo eyes, redo skin tone, redo everything until I got it just perfect. That would be my dream girl. That girl in real life, if she were real, would never give me the time of day. I've come to accept that. That's just what happens, You're when you're unfriendly on the outside, chances are you're unfriendly on the inside, and that's the image I try to portray of myself throughout my entire life. But some people are like, you know what, Millennial Sting, I don't believe you. I actually had a lady say that to me last week. I don't believe you. And I was just like, wait a minute, this isn't a negotiation here. This is what I'm telling you. And she's just like, I'm not buying it. But with that said, let's get into my talking points for today. So I took Tamarin's comment, I stuck it into the AI, and this is what came out of its rear end. Friendships typically would begin with subtle interactions like smiles, short conversations, or shared moments. Or, I might add, shared pain. When that girl, whom I had never talked to before my entire life, came over to see me, she had no intention of spilling her little guts or pouring out her little heart about how much pain she was in. The only thing she wanted was to talk to me in small talk, right? Just come over, tell me what she wanted. but she was in so much emotional pain. I mean, you don't push your face up to someone and say, these bags under my eyes are from crying all night. That's not a normal thing you say to another human being because we are so protective of our feelings. We never want to portray ourselves as being weak. In fact, I have met many girls throughout my life that the second you show them any emotion whatsoever, they're turned off by it as a man. And I've experienced that enough times so that I've developed a reaction, almost a nervous reaction to people who are like that. You don't show anything. And these are people, I mean, this particular person I've known or I knew for 8 years, and she took the passing of her own dad as if nothing happened. And she bottles up her emotions to the point where she can't show any feelings, any weakness, any feeling of weakness is not allowed. And I think that's kind of the society we live in where you're not allowed to be weak. You're not allowed to be a loser. And I think it fortifies the attitude in all of us that having feelings means you're a loser. Because people, especially, and this was a business major, that in order to be successful, you can't be emotional. And I think that's been ingrained into our society for as long as I can remember. You don't cry, no matter what. And the people who do cry, the people who are depressed, the people who are sitting at home right now crying, are people we look down upon. And so when you bring your pain, when you bring your little heart to me and you pour out your heart, what you're saying is, I'm I'm vulnerable in front of you and I want you to treat me. I want you to make me feel better. And since I'm very good at that, again, coming back to the same attitude, I'm not a people person, but I'm good at that. I don't know why I'm good at that, but I am. And that's why when people feel that sense, like my physical therapist this morning, she told me this repeatedly for an hour because she's one of these people. If she wasn't married with a bunch of kids, I think that we probably would be going out by now, just because we're both very receptive to each other. Again, I'm going to keep telling you guys this till I'm blue in the face. I'm not a people person, but I am a people person. I reject being a people person, but it doesn't stop me from being a people person. I don't like that aspect of my personality because I don't think that I would do that to another person. But people seem to do it to me. In fact, I just went to go drop off food for a college student that's been studying all day. Why? Why did I do that? Was I going to get some? Not a chance. Was it out of some sort of deep need to help someone? No. I don't know why I did. I couldn't tell you why I did it other than I wanted to see that person. That was my only reason why I got in my car. And it is still I'm going to mention the heat every single time. I left sodas in the car. I just went to the grocery store and I left them while I was driving around, and the freaking soda exploded in the back from the heat. I'm like, good Lord, it is out. It is ridiculously hot for September. Anyhow, moving on to my second talking point. Returning simple gestures of kindness or conversation is an essential step in nurturing potential friendships. With the girl that brought her little heart to me last week, I didn't want to be a guy that she brought that much pain to me and expressed how she felt for an hour and then be the guy that asks her out. It's never a good it's never a good look to ask out a girl that soon. But and she's really pretty. That's the weird part is that you know what? She kind of looks like like the background you guys, the girl that you guys are seeing right now while you guys are listening to me. I didn't subconsciously, I didn't realize I was asking the AI to draw her. I just came to that conclusion just now. I was just thinking about the image of her in my head, dark brown eyes, dark brown hair, a little bit of a tan, small. very skinny, loves her high heels. I drew that girl subconsciously. Oh my God, that's so weird. But again, coming back to this, I would never ask a person like that out. I think that small gestures and kindness and all the essential steps in nurturing people are a necessary evil that doesn't sit well in the category of trying to move forward. And I know that going out to eat isn't a instant, I want to get behind you, baby. No, it's not. But it can be misconstrued that way. And because everything can be turned into a potential, he's trying to get into my pants. Look, look at his giant bulge in his pants right now. That would be the situation I would run into. And I just don't want to be that guy. So instead of offering to take her out to lunch or asking her for her number, all I said at the end of that day, at the end of that conversation was, I'd like to bring you something to eat sometime. And she didn't write me anything back. She didn't say anything after that. I think that was the last conversation that we had. And all she did was she gave me the thumbs up. That was her response because I wasn't trying to pursue her in any way. I know lesser men that would, and I know, hell, most men with as good looking as she was been would have been interested in the good old in and out. But millennial steam, I have been rejected by women my entire life. Rejection is something that I just assume is going to happen in every single encounter with another human being. And therefore, I stopped trying. And I think that's one of the main reasons why I've spent my life alone is I just stopped trying. You can only accept so much rejection from the opposite sex before you finally just throw in the towel and say, you know what? It's me and you, joystick, from now until the end of time. That's it. You're all the love you're going to get in my life is righty during the week, and then you cheat on righty with lefty for special occasions. Your birthday, Christmas, being really drunk. Special occasions. That's it. That's all the love most of us are going to get. Self love is the only love that's out there for men who just aren't good with dealing with other people. And again, I keep saying I'm not good at dealing with people in the sense of when it comes to the old one eyed snake. That's it. If you're good at everything else, but you can't pass that barrier, then you get to a point where you're not even going to try. And just because I stop trying doesn't mean the people around me stop trying. I'm just less receptive to it. I'm like, it's not going anywhere. Well, what's the point? Why am I going to waste my time on something that's never going to go anywhere? Because it's meaningless. And in a real sense, it's almost, how do I put this? It's a means to an end to fail prematurely. It's like when you launch your thing and you weren't, you didn't mean to, but it happened and now it's over and you're both dissatisfied with what just happened, but at least someone got something out of it. It wasn't what anybody wanted, but it was definitely an end to the commotion. Anyhow, before this gets too gross, let's move on to talking point number 3. While we often dismiss online interactions as less personal, consistent engagement in digital spaces, comments, messages, likes can be a strong indicator of someone's wanting to connect on a deeper level. The flip side of that, folks, is when they stop commenting, when they stop liking, and when they stop messaging. And you're not ready for that. You're not prepared for that to happen. And or the flat out rejection. On my old channel, the reason Millennial Steam exists, and I mentioned this before, is because I met a woman online that I really, really liked. She lived in France. We talked every day, often many times per day, even though there's an 8-hour time difference. And one day she just decided that she wasn't going to talk to me anymore. It was, despite it being completely online, I took it incredibly hard. I took it very hard. I mean, it took it so badly that I had to shut down that channel and reboot the channel. And that's where Millennial Steam came from. From that interaction with that woman, or her just flat out saying, you know what? I don't want to talk to you anymore. And as a person that doesn't have much, it was a very difficult thing to go through. But on the flip side of the same topic, I meet more and more people who don't want to meet people digitally. This is a very common phrase I hear from both men and women. I want organic connections. Let me be the bearer of bad news here, folks. Organic connections rarely happen anymore. We live in a world where everyone distrusts everyone. And if you need any evidence of that, look at COVID. COVID changed our world for the worst. Before COVID, you could go hiking on trails and people would say hello, people would smile. People fundamentally were changed by the isolation and fear of COVID. And I don't think there's a way to go back to a pre COVID world. If I could cut the years that we spent in isolation, I mean, I spent 678 days sitting alone in my room looking for work and not finding any, but I didn't talk to anyone during that time. It was one of the hardest times, and I'm a introvert, antisocial human being, and it was hard for me. But the world that we came out of after COVID, after the masks, after believing that everyone was contaminated, that's what I took. You'd run into people at the grocery store, and all you saw were the eyes, the distrusting eyes if you were patient zero of the monkey, hobo, hot box, God only knows virus. But that's how we felt. I remember there was one time. Because remember, groceries had to stay. Grocery stores had to stay open because they were essential. And I remember this distinct encounter with a woman. She put red lipstick on the outside of her mask in the shape of a smile. And she passed me in the store and she's like, of course, I'm going to just use my screen name. She said, Millennial Steam, I'm tired of these masks. I want to see people's faces again. I didn't know her. But she came up to me and she said that, and I was just like shocked because we weren't talking to one another. We were social distancing, we were staying away from one another, we weren't going to public spaces. The parks were all cordoned off with that caution tape. There was nowhere you could go. And just sitting at home waiting to see what happens and having people come onto the news and say crazy things like shine light into your rear end to make certain that you don't get the thing. And it was such a bizarre time that truly changed the social rules for the rest of humanity. There is no way of going back and changing what happened to us in, what was it, 2021? Yeah, I think that's when it happened, the spring of 2021. I mean, we're 3 years out and still, I don't see a return to normal behavior ever again. I mean, you're still, like when you go into a Walmart, all the employees are wearing masks. Someone left in the comment section, a reference to this, that they're doing that because they're embarrassed to work at Walmart and they don't want people to see who they are. I have to agree with that. With that comment, as bizarre as it sounds, if I could have worn a mask the entire time that I worked there, I would have, because it is humiliating. And there is no coming back from COVID. The world we knew back then, for those of us who are going to remember it, there's an entire generation of people who won't know any different. The world that they're living in is the only one that they know. It reminds me of Big O and the amnesia. That people just don't know because they didn't have to live through it. But with that said, let's get into my final talking point before I get to the 20-minute mark here. Once you recognize someone's interest is connecting, take small intentional steps to nurture the bond. Once you recognize someone's interest in connecting, take small intentional steps to nurture the bond. tell you this: the road to rejection often is laced with the best of good intentions. And when you think of starting something like this, and this is the negative thought process that I have in my mind, the person that most likely is physically going to harm you in your life is going to be the person you let in your front door. Not as a psychotic murderer or, some sort of deviant person, but a person who's going to feel comfortable seeing you in your birthday suit. That is the person that most likely is going to harm you in your life. And if you need any evidence for that, just look at your local newspaper. It's full of people who were taken out by a person they thought they cared about. And that's the way I think about it. It's not a shark that's going to eat you. You're not going to be struck by lightning. You're more than likely going to get a bobbit. You're going to wake up one night and feel a little light. And you're going to wonder, it's like, what happened? Oh, she found out that you were cheating on her with her best friend's cousin's aunt. And she decided to help herself to a serving of, what was it, Greyjoy from Game of Thrones? Yeah, he's going to be less romantic, people, but he's still a man. No, he's not. That can be you. That can be you for letting the wrong person into your life. Soon, your most prized one-eyed uh, amusement toy will be gone, and you'll spend the rest of your life wondering what are you supposed to do with your hands now. But with that said, I don't think I'm going to do a toxic positivity. This whole video is a toxic positivity. Just remember, I'm going to put this into toxic positivity. We all want to feel something, right? We all want to feel something warm. We all want to feel something good. We all want to not be alone. But at the end of the day, for those of us like myself who've chosen a life of solitude but don't like it, it is what it is. I spent my whole life as a single man. And I don't see that changing any time before they put me in the pine box. It's just the way it is, folks. And with that said, I hope you guys had a good weekend. I can already feel the tightness in my chest from knowing I have to go back to Evil Corp, grab my ankles, and tell myself I need this. I need this to eat. I need this for shelter. Don't cry anymore, Millennial Steam. It doesn't hurt.